Good afternoon and welcome to this week's wrap. Hope you're all having a lovely Friday. So far this week we've seen a few good things and there's been a decent amount of volatility. The Bank of Japan came out with comments today. We'll get to that in a moment. But so we had basically oil had a pretty volatile week with a real nice push up into this area before sellers really took over and we saw a pullback. We've seen a small recovery at this stage, but at the moment it does look like one of those signs of just a quick move after a break of the fast trend. Watch out for this. It could become a new lower high and we could even have further selling if we do see a new pullback by sellers. So it doesn't look too strong at this stage at the moment from a buying point of view, but if we do get a higher low around this area here, that could set up some more support for buyers. Now, the dollar CAD, as you may expect, had a bit of a volatile week as well. So with oil moving around, we did see some movements on it as well. So the dollar was firmer this week, and we'll get to that soon. But Canadian CPI came out stronger than expected, and we did see a nice push up, but that has been faded. And at the moment, it's sitting a little bit flat. But we do have a lot of demand below. Really, that 34.31 area, and then there's looks like plenty of ready sellers above 34.83 all the way up to 35.23. So it does look to be in a little bit of a stalemate, but with the break of trend and with a new good leg lower in play and then a failed high, it does look like a little bit more bearish at this stage, but we're going to have to see a bit more of a statement from sellers to really confirm that. So the FOMC came out this week as well, and we saw a nice nice recovery from the dollar after first when it was released we saw a bit of a push lower. This trend's still in play, and we've seen a new move above this level here, which is at 105.56. Today the dollar is very firm. We're seeing a lot of buying and we're seeing a good push into new weekly highs. And I think this level here will be one of the final tests to see if it can break above that level at 105.78 to 80, and if we do get a close above that level, that's really just going to maintain this current trend that continues to push on. So this trend really is quite a solid looking medium term long term trend at the moment, and while we just see that continual pattern of higher highs like we're seeing here and higher lows, we'll look for this to continue. Now the Fed basically didn't rule out any more interest rates in the future. They said there could be possibly one more, and that definitely gave the dollar a bit of a boost. They also held rates as expected, but they have left that door open. So now moving on to the Bank of England and the Great Britain pound. So we'll just take a look at the pound USD, and we can see it has declined this week. So there was a surprise in the CPI. It came in lower than expected, and we also saw the Bank of England cut rates as they appear to be pretty comfortable with how things are going in terms of the trend of CPI, and this didn't do any favors for the pound. As we see here, it's had a pretty solid 3-day decline, and that continues today. So it did break through that low, which is seen back in May, and it continues to push lower. So it hasn't really made any new lows for the year, but it's definitely making multi-month lows, and we can just see that trend now. It's really quite entrenched, and we can see a nice series here of lower highs and lower lows as it continues to push down, with the acceleration really heating up really this week and last week. So it will be interesting to see what it does take to sort of get some buyers back into the market. But at the moment, fundamentally as well as technically, it does look rather that downtrend is quite entrenched at the moment. We're not seeing much action from buyers. When they do try to get something going, they keep getting cut down, and we continue to see those new lows being put in. So that's really not too surprising with what we did hear from the Bank of England and with the CPI result as well. Now today we had the Bank of Japan, so it was mainly as expected. Rates were held. The bond buying came in as expected. Loose policy will remain in play, and that has seen a little bit, fair bit of movement against the Japanese yen at this stage today. And we can see here the Aussies had a nice push higher after a pretty bad day yesterday, and we can see the euro as well. It is pulling back. That data didn't come out too long ago, and we can see that resistance really does stand at 158.34. 34/35, and that range still remains in play. The pound as well has put on a bit of a fight back after a really decent push lower yesterday that took us back, down testing sort of this area at 180.64. And the dollar yen, which we did do a bit of a report on earlier, it had a single day decline yesterday. It did break out of that ascending triangle pattern. It did look like the trend continuation was, back on the cards until yesterday. We did have that pullback, and at this stage today we are seeing a fight back. So we'll continue to see if dollar strength does continue into the end of Friday, and if we will see further weekly highs set by the dollar yen. It does look like it could be a decent chance of that with the yen being sold at the moment, and with the dollar seeing a pretty good day on Friday. Now, stock indices this week, we saw a fair bit of selling at this stage, so we can see here on the US 30 with the news about interest rates from the FOMC, and yesterday's we did see that real solid move down. Now, a part of that yesterday was yields. We saw yields jump to levels, the 2-year, I think it was not since 2007. I'm just going off memory here, and the 10-year also was up at, I think, around 15-year highs. So we do know from previous experiences that when yields are jumping, that is not a good thing for stocks, and it does hurt stocks. And again, in this example, we're seeing that happen once again. So we're going to have to continue to see that. This also affected crypto this week. I think we did see some pretty, the recovery was looking quite good on a few of the coins, but with yields jumping yesterday, and with that really did, I think, knock into cryptos a little bit. I didn't see any other real key reasons for that, but we can see, the dramatic effect it's had on stocks, and we can see here on NDX 100, it's gone all the way back down to that low that was set, that area set back. Can't really see that back in August, and we are going to wonder now if we're going to see support come in at that point. We have seen support there before. It's a previous level of resistance. We did see a low put in there, and we are seeing a little bit of buying off that, but definitely keep an eye on yields this evening in the New York session. And if they continue to pop, I don't think that's going to do any favors for stocks and stock indexes. So that's one definitely keep an eye on later on today. And we can see the SPX 500 here as well. Two real brutal days, and we've beaten that low as well. So there's a couple of things to watch into tonight's session. Now, metals, as you'd expect with the dollar being strong, we had a nice rally earlier in the week in gold. It sort of got caught up in this resistance level here at 1944.60. There's a bit more resistance as well down around that 1934.36. Had a bit of a support come in as well, you say, but it's really been a pretty a flat week at this stage, and we're seeing a bit of buying today off the back of the Bank of Japan. So the gold isn't really being affected at this stage today by the dollar strength, and silver is also seeing some demand as pushing higher. Now, this could also be from the situation yesterday, but definitely silver is leading. Obviously, you can see silver's leading out of the two at the moment, and we do have a bit of a trend forming. We would like to see now is that we have that trend break. Like to see the next pullback, a nice higher low, and then a new push higher with higher highs. But overall, the price of silver remains range bound. We can see that key support down at 22.27, and there's a fair bit of resistance and supply up at 25.12. So we're sort of mid-range at the moment. So not too much on the inside. There definitely is a little bit of a play going on to the upside, and we'll keep an eye on that one. Now, just on some of cryptos, so we can see that really nice rally we had in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and there was a nice recovery here, but that all came undone yesterday, and we saw that quite a big move lower. Bitcoin as well had that single day decline. Some of the other smaller coins like Ava, for instance, now they've had a lot rougher. We can see Ava hitting new lows for the year, and that downtrend just continues to run its course. Ripple as well is still holding around that 50-51 area. It did try and get up a bit of a move going earlier in the week, but that sort of stopped once it got back up to that 52 points. So it's sort of just stagnating at this stage as well. And ADA is holding on quite well at this stage from 0.238. but again, it looks to be pretty range bound at this stage as well. Now we have touched on oil, but oil is one to keep an eye on at this stage. So we will see if oil does break a bit lower. I think the lower oil is, it's going to be better for the outlooks for CPI as well. I think if we do see oil get back up above 95 or more, that pressure is going to return in some forms. So we will I always do like to keep an eye on oil at this stage, especially after this run it's had quite recently. So just a few things coming up to end the week. The main thing we have coming up is the EU, UK and US flash services and flash manufacturing data, the PMI data that's coming out today. So that could throw up a few opportunities. It could see a bit of volatility and movement. So continue to watch the euro and the pound and the dollar, just to see how things pan out through that data as it comes out for the rest of the day. Now, just a quick look at next week. We have the German IFO business climate coming out on Monday. There has CB consumer confidence as well coming out from the States. Australian CPI is one to watch as well next Wednesday. And we have the German prelim CPI, Spanish flash CPI as well. And then we have final GDP coming out of the US, unemployment claims on Thursday as normal. And then we have Fed Chair Powell speaking as well on Friday. And then we have Canadian GDP and the core PCE price index coming out of the US, and revised UAM consumer sentiment. And Saturday we have Chinese manufacturing and non-manufacturing PMI data coming out as well. There's also a daylight savings shift in Australia, so clocks will be being adjusted for that as well. So that's it for today's wrap. I hope you have had a great trading week, and it should still be a few things to watch tonight. Definitely the yields, and if they're going to continue to play a bit of an impact on stocks. At this stage, we are seeing stock indices, futures trading a little bit higher, but definitely keep an eye on that. Now, as well, the ASX, I'll just finally touch on that. It has rebounded 1.17 or 1.15% today after yesterday, but yesterday was an absolute destruction day. We can just see how bad that selling was yesterday. It was an absolute a plunge and a half. So we will be watching the ASX and just how that goes into how it does close today, and then how it does shape up next week on Monday. So we can see price got nearly got back all the way down to these areas that was set back in March. So that's it. Thank you very much for tuning in, and yeah, all the best with your trading for the rest of today, and until next week, have a fantastic weekend and bye for now.